everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be filming today. It's my first day filming after coming home from holidays and I'm so thrilled to be back. Today's video is going to be a tanning routine video. This is all my natural skin tone. It looks quite like pale in this light because I'm being completely washed out. I've been asked so many times to make a video like this and I already have a video like this up, but it is so old. So I said I would do a brand new one and kind of inform you of maybe some of the tips and tricks that I may not have mentioned in that video. I haven't seen that video in so long, so I can't even remember what I was talking about in it, but I will link it down below if you're interested. But that is a very popular video. I get traffic to that video constantly. I get questions on the video constantly, so I thought it was time to update you on my tanning routine. Before I start, I have to say a disclaimer. Make sure before you go into the sun that you are hydrating yourself constantly because you will get so dehydrated in the sun. Nobody wants sunstroke. That is nasty. Second of all, I have very sallow skin. I am naturally brunette. I have dark eyes, so I am slightly dark and I always will tan pretty easy. If you have pale skin, be really careful with the sun because I've seen so many people on holidays and they were red roasted. I mean, like, they looked like lobsters, and I don't mean that in any disrespect to them, but I felt so bad for them because that can't be comfortable. It looks so uncomfortable if anything, and I just want to kind of, you know, make sure that before you start listening to what I have to say, that you take that into consideration. The skin type that you have may be very different to the skin type that I have. So first off, I'm going to show you what my tan looks like. So I don't know if you can even see it here, like the lighting's so bad. I'll show you my belly. So that's how dark my belly goes. Probably the darkest part of me. It goes super dark. My tan will probably only last me, like, it's pretty dark right now, but it'll probably only, and it's pretty dark for an Irish person, it'll probably only last like maybe a month. I went away for 10 days and I'd say out of the 10 days I was away, about 3 of them were really overcast, like ridiculously overcast. It was still quite warm, you'd still get burnt in it. So I'd say I had a majority, maybe about 7 days properly in the sun, and one of them I spent at a water park. So when I go away, my main priority is not to get my face too exposed to the sun. I always get like a little amount of freckles over my face, over my nose, and a little bit on the tops of my forehead, but I kind of lash on Factor 50 onto my face when I'm in the sun, and I recommend that to everybody. When you have one face, the last thing you want to do is look like a leathered handbag. Make sure that you lash on the Factor 50 onto your face just to protect it, and it kind of reduces any fine lines that you may get and any skin damage and sun damage and stuff like that, and it's kind of the best barrier I could recommend as a Factor 50. So I bring a Factor 50 face cream. I brought a BB cream as well from Elizabeth Arden with a Factor 30 in it as well. I would use that kind of closer to the end of the holiday, and I was kind of applying that onto my face before I went down to the pool. Again, blocking out everything on my face from any sort of damage from the sun, because the last thing I wanted was to burn on my face. And this year I did a great job of not burning or anything like that on my face, because usually my nose gets a little bit burnt. I always use Pisboon or Pisboon or whatever, however you pronounce that. That's my sun factor. I use 2 factors. So the first one I always bring is around a Factor 20. I think I brought a Factor 30 with me this year. So I bring a Factor 30 with me because where I always go is usually down south of Spain. It's pretty hot. If you're going anywhere that's going to get an intense amount of heat, I do recommend kind of a high-ish around factor. Factor 50 for someone who's pretty fair. For myself, Factor 30 is perfect. I would usually start with a Factor 20, but because Ireland's weather was so rubbish, I didn't even get a base colour, so I had to start with the Factor 30 before my base actually built up, because if you didn't wear a high factor you'd definitely get burnt. I reapply it. Let's say it's Factor 20, I'd reapply it every 20 minutes. If it's Factor 30, I'll reapply it every 30 minutes. I kind of go with whatever factor I have on the bottle, and that determines how often I reapply it. Once I'm pretty dark, then I will start into the oil, and I always bring an oil around Factor 15 away with me, again from Pisboon, whatever way you want to say it. It is my all-time favourite oil. It's a dry oil, so it doesn't leave you all slippy and slimy and gross. It's just kind of goes on like with the way your sun cream was. Think about the Pisboon or Pisboon ones that I use, they're not waterproof, so the second you get into the water you need to reapply the second you get out. And I do not recommend lying there with no sun factor on for any longer than 30 minutes, no matter what factor it is that you're using, even a Factor 50, because once 30 minutes is kind of gone, it's broken down, you know, your natural sweats, and you're rubbing off a lot of the factor. So after about 30-45 minutes, no matter what factor it is, you should be reapplying it anyway. In a particular day of tanning, I would usually lie out for a staggered 5 hours. Okay, so when I'm mean staggered, I mean like getting up, going to the pool, going to the beach or wherever we're going, walking around, you know, stuff like that, in and out of the shade. I would lie out for, I'd say, about 5 hours staggered all over the place. I was reapplying oils and creams constantly, making sure that my skin was hydrated and stuff like that, and that's how I built up my tan. There's nothing really more that I can say about building up a tan. You kind of either have skin that tans or skin that doesn't, but definitely watching what factors you use and definitely making sure that you are, you know, literally lying in the sun will, you know, obviously enhance the amount of sun that you get. Make sure that you're aware of what the sun is like in different countries. I know that sounds weird, but say down in Australia and New Zealand, their ozone layer is quite thin, so the sun that hits you is very different to the sun that would hit you in the Costa del Sol. You have to be very careful with the sun down there because of the ozone layer being thinner. You could get a little bit more damage to your skin, definitely burn. I've never been to either country, so I'm not really sure exactly what the sun exposure is like. Another thing that people ask me a lot is, how do I get an even tan? That's so easy, guys. Just make sure that you don't lie on your front for too long or lie on your back for too long, because obviously one side is going to get more tan than the other. Usually, like naturally, I don't think about it, but nearly every half hour I kind of turn around or turn over and then I work on my back or work on my front. It's not kind of like a, okay, right, we're going to do a front day or we're going to do a back day. I don't really think like it like that. I just kind of lie on my back, lie on my front, lie on my back, lie on my front. So I'm alternating. I do recommend using sun cream everywhere, like every single place. Places that you don't even think of, like your hands and your earlobes and stuff like that. They're places that a lot of people can get burnt on and they don't really think about it. Make sure when you are going out into the sun, I don't care where the sun is, if it's in Ireland, I know the sun is not as strong as it would be like in California or maybe in Australia or stuff like that. Make sure you still wear sun factor though, because it's really, really important. Do not put vegetable oil on your body or baby oil, for God's sake. You need to protect your skin, guys. Like, it is your skin after all. Like, you don't really want it to frizzle up and frazzle on you and get all dry and dehydrated. Another question I get asked is, how do I stop getting bored in the sun? For starters, this is my first holiday in 2 years, so I'm not going to be bored lying out. Like, I really needed this holiday. But if you're at home and stuff like that, how do you stop getting bored? I read lots of books when I was away, read magazines when I'm away, listen to music, tons of different things you can do. If you're on holidays with other people, you're usually chatting when you're lying in the sun as well, so it makes time go by really quickly. One of my best friends, Kira, was away with me this summer. It was great because we were going up to the bar and then we were lying out and then we were like chatting and then we were reading and then we were listening to music, so it kept our interests up all day and we didn't get bored at all. So the last thing I want to talk about is how to care for your tan as well. Over time your skin does shed. I know that sounds gross, but it does, and that's how your tan goes away. But you can prolong the life of your tan, obviously not allowing your skin to get too dehydrated. So by adding on lots of moisturizers, I used After Sun when I was over in Spain in particular, because after I had my shower I would apply my After Sun literally from head to toe, because it just stopped my body from getting really dehydrated and dry, and it had aloe vera in it, so it soothed anywhere that may have been burnt that I wasn't aware of. I definitely recommend using an After Sun, and now that I'm home, I'm using a body moisturizer. The one that I'm using at the moment is Pink Warm and Cozy from Victoria's Secret. This is my favorite body lotion at the moment. It doesn't have any amazing properties in it. It is like scented, so if you don't like scented things, be careful of that, or if you have any sensitive skin. But it is so important to make sure that you keep your skin moisturized. That'll make your tan last a little bit longer, because the more dry your skin is, the more it's going to flake off, the more you're losing your tan. So guys, they're basically all the tips that I could recommend for you guys when you are tanning, just to make sure that you do know your skin type before you start going out into the sun. Even from getting too much sun and not drinking regularly enough, you can get sunstroke, which is really not nice, not something that you want on holidays. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this tanning video. I hope you got some tips from me, and I hope you enjoy your holidays if you're going away, or if you have been away. I hope you enjoyed your time and have fun in the sun. I'll talk to you in my next video, guys. Bye! Mwah! Oh my god, I've had lipstick on my teeth for approximately about 10-15 minutes. Don't judge, don't judge. It happens to the best of us.